Life is certainly an interesting journey. We live and then we die, but it's the bit in between that matters. We're looking for our purpose in the world and where we might actually fit in. But the one thing that's inevitable is change. No matter what obstacles you face, you will always face a period where you need to make a change. But why do we find it hard? Why is it that something that we can all go through is something that is so difficult? Whether it's changing to lose weight, changing to become a better person, or changing because we found a new interest in something, we always face this difficulty. The truth is, people don't know how to change. There's no rule book, there's no one telling us this is the exact method of how to do it. And so there are several different reasons why we find it so difficult. So I'm going to describe them as 4 types. You have the impatient one, the shy one, the tired one, and the self-sabotaging one. Now you might find yourself in a couple of these categories, and that's good, because at least you can get to the bottom of where you might be stopping yourself. The impatient one. You're looking at the end result, but you can't see how you can possibly get there, and therefore you're getting overwhelmed. You're skipping all of the steps that you need to make because you want to get there as quickly as possible. Therefore, you're making several mistakes, and you're probably also trying to do so many things at once that you're getting frustrated because you're not there yet and because you're always falling short. And therefore, that's diminishing your motivation. This is personally where I fit in because I am very impulsive, and when I want something, I want it now. I will very much look at A, B, how am I going to get there? I don't really care, I'm just going to try whatever and get there as fast as I possibly can. Now you probably don't want to hear this, but you do have to break it down into a step-by-step method, and you have to do it. It's very easy for us to tell ourselves that we would like to be able to be the fittest person, however we don't put in the work. And this is the problem, because putting on gym clothes doesn't make you a fitter person. Doing the workout plan does. And if you're too busy thinking about what the results would feel like if you had already achieved it, then you're going wrong. Get focused on the first step, not the last. If you try to rush things, then you might not get the results you were hoping for. And that disappointment can be one of the biggest killers for your own motivation. So you have to keep going, but you also have to do it step by step. The shy one. This is about the comfort zone. When it's been your personality for so long, or it's been the way that you've always done things, change can be scary. But the problem is that these are emotions, and these emotions hold you back. You need to tend to these emotions, because if you stay the same, it doesn't matter, because everything else around you will change anyway. The things that used to work no longer work, and when you don't fit in the environment anymore, you can actually become quite miserable. The things that change live in a lot more places. And as we become socially different, we have to keep changing. Can you stay the same as you always have been and expect for the world to become better? No. Of course, we can debate whether the world is getting better or not. However, change generally is good. And the comfort zone can very much make you stay in the same spot. And if you just stay in the same spot, then eventually you will get to a point where you're not going to have much choice but to change. Yes, it's scary, but you never know, it could actually make you happier once you come the other side. Most of the time, people's regrets aren't what they've done, but what they haven't done. So don't let your comfort zone trap you. The tired one. But what if you have been trying? What if you've been giving it all you've got to make these changes, but you're still not getting there? Struggling to change doesn't mean that you're lazy, it just means that you're running out of energy. Maybe you're running out of the initial motivation that you had at the start because you're finding that it's really hard to make this change, and that resistance is now demotivating you. You realize that there's a system of habits and routines that you're used to. And so this is what takes a while to change and to develop new habits and to make it part of your routine that becomes more natural. We get frustrated at times, and sometimes we relapse, and this makes us feel even more angry because we've been trying so hard, but it's becoming exhausting. The thing is, it's easier to talk about change than it is to make that change. And this is where a lot of people fall short. They don't realize that it actually requires a huge amount of energy. Think of it like a boxing match. Here you are with your idea of wanting to make this change. Your opponent is all the obstacles that you will face as you try to make this change. Now, you put up a good fight at first, but it hits you, and it hits you really hard. And then you relapse. But you try to get back up, and you get back on it again, but it hits you back again, and you fall over. Now, this is the end of the round. The question is, do you get back up to fight another round and try to win the tournament, or do you give up? You'll often find that a lot of the time, the boxer, despite it being a hard match, will still keep trying. So what are you gonna do? It's your choice. The self-sabotaging one. Sometimes you're not changing because you're in denial. There's a dissonance between the way that you think you're behaving versus the way that you're actually behaving. Are you sabotaging your own chances? This is the responsibility that we have here, and we need to hold ourselves accountable. This is why self-awareness is so important, because while self-awareness allows you to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses, it also looks at how it affects others. If someone repetitively said to you how rude you are, but in your mind you thought that you were a nice person and you never once questioned yourself why they might be saying that, then there is where the problem lies. The thing is, you have to ask yourself, am I living up to be the person I want to be right now? And you have to be honest with yourself. Now, it's really hard to be honest with ourselves sometimes because we then have to admit that there are flaws or there's mistakes that we're making, and we don't really want to admit that we're making any mistakes. But this is what's important and what's going to help you actually be the change that you want to be. And if you do find that you've been in denial, then congratulations. You've actually just overcome a huge step in making a change, and this is the main thing that holds many people back. What's important to remember is that we can't be told that we're in denial. It's something that we have to go through that process, and we have to realize ourselves. Sometimes it's the hardest lessons that are the most valuable lessons, because as much as we can share experiences, it's what we take from them that is what we remember. So now that you've learned that change is something that we all struggle with, are you going to take that pressure off yourself now? That you're not just going to get it right and get the results that you want straight away, but at least you now have some awareness of where you might be getting stuck? Well, if you want some real steps of action on how to start making your habits and routines stick, then make sure you check out the next video where I tell you how to actually make the change.